So today we're going to talk about the big lie that men need to stop telling themselves when a woman pulls away from them. And so one of my more popular videos right now is the 5 ways to pass or pull away test video. I got a lot of great comments under that, but there were a few comments I got that kind of disturbed me a bit, and I want to talk about it because some of these comments are perpetrating this huge lie that just the manosphere and the RP community as a whole have bought into for when a woman's pulling away, this is what's actually happening. So there was a guy that left this comment, and it says, he said he was literally going through this right now. He says, I've been dating a woman for 3 months, and out of nowhere, she stopped texting and talking as much. She told me she needs time and space. For a few days, I would text numerous times a day with short or no replies. One day it finally hit me that I should back off. Now I'm waiting to see how this works. So starters, I want to say, good for you, guy, because the worst thing you could be doing is trying to continuously pester somebody that is not trying to respond to you. That becomes harassment. And plenty of women get that every day of their lives. They have men that they try to cut it off with, and the guy just keeps texting and calling and stopping by their place of work and where they live. And it's all very harassy. So if that starts happening where a woman's not talking to you as much, then definitely back off. And I will say, the part where she says, she told me she needs time and space. This is a common thing that happens when men are doing too much too soon. I've talked about this extensively. So you were dating her for 3 months, but my guess is if you were dating her for 3 months, if you're like most guys, you were probably texting her every day, probably calling her every day, trying to see her multiple times a week before she suggested it first. And these are behaviors that men aren't aware can cause a woman to lose attraction. Now, even if a woman, when you start dating a woman, you don't necessarily know if she's dating other people. Like, for all you know, she could be dating just you or dating a multitude of other guys. I have found in my personal experience that, whether I met a woman on a dating app or met her in person, that once we start dating, usually around like the first month or so, if we're still going out on a consistent basis, what I found is that women usually get rid of those other guys. And I don't ever ask questions, but around the first and a half month, I'll start getting questions from them like, so, are you still seeing other people? Because I'm not seeing other people. And that lets me know that they're not seeing other people. So if at that point I start to lose their attraction, I can't assume it's because there's other people in the running because she already got rid of them. I have to assume that it must be something that I'm doing in the process, whether it's I'm trying to contact them too much, whether I'm starting to be needy, over complimenting them, et cetera, all right? Now, I say this because there were a couple of comments that were left under that comment that really kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. So the first one says, this guy says, when a girl says she needs time and space, you tell her, okay, you have it, lose my number. They know if they want you or not. She has another man she's talking to and deciding what she wants. If she comes back, it means the hotter, richer guy pumped and dumped, and she's coming back to you, the next best thing. So that was the first comment. Then there was another comment that was a little more below it that said, it says, LOL, bruh, she's not feeling you and has found another potential partner that she thinks is a better suitor, hotter, richer, etc. If she comes back to you, it's because she got pumped and dumped and needs reassurance that she's hot, but she's really a 4 and not a 10 in her delusional mind. So this, by the way, is a lot of the negative rhetoric that's come out over the last couple of years. And there's a lot of content creators now that are, using this kind of language and, the whole like, oh, she's just a pumper and dumper and she's for the streets and yada, yada, yada. You notice I don't really say that kind of stuff on my channel because it's not to say that there aren't women out there that do that, but just in my dating experience, that really hasn't been how my dating experience has gone. Like, have I attempted to hook up with or date women that ended up not being like the best in the world in terms of like, keeping it in their pants or doing whatever? Like, yes, but that's not the overwhelming majority of women that I've dated. The majority of women that I've dated have been ones that when we first start dating, it's mostly about me and her. And then I might still have my options open, but usually they don't really have their options open. And then we get together and it's pretty good. And at this point, I've learned how to kind of pace out those first 3 months of dating. So I'm not overbearing. I'm not trying to make myself too available, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the thing, is that I don't think men in general are really looking at what things am I doing in the dating process that are causing me to have these results. Because a guy will think to himself, well, I don't understand. like we met on a dating app or we met in person and we were texting and talking the first couple of weeks and it was like nonstop, and it seemed all really, really good. And now she's suddenly petering off and not answering as fast or leaving 1 word or 2 word answers, and I don't understand. And their first go-to is not, what did I do wrong in the process? No. Their first go-to is, it must be another guy. She must be really, really loose, I'll say, because I don't want to use the other word. She must be really, really loose, and she's probably out there getting done up by a plethora of other guys. And you know what? She's probably one of those women that was like really a gold digger and is probably going after a guy that's richer because I only make $50,000 a year, and she probably wants a guy that's making $100,000. So she probably found that guy, which, by the way, they're so rare that they're hard to find, guys. But anyway, she probably found that guy and is just letting him do whatever, and that's why she's ignoring me. And I think the reason men do this is because it's easier to be able to say it's her fault for being loose and it's another guy's fault because, she opened herself up to him and he did what he had to do, but like that now affects me. And it's so much easier to do that than to say, wait a minute, this is like the 3rd girl in a row that after 2 or 3 weeks of texting, she suddenly goes away. And I'm the common denominator in all this. Maybe it's something I'm doing. Like there's a lot of guys in these comments that talk, when I talk about the passing the pull away test, that are saying basically that it's not that they're failing a test, it's that the woman's loose and she's going after another, typically Chad or Tyrone or whatever, to knock her socks off. And at the time that I was in my early 20s, we didn't have terms like Chad and Tyrone and pump and dump and stuff like that. But there were times I thought like that, where I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff right. But the thing is this, the thing that really made me realize it had to be me was because like at the time, I was dating like nerdy girls that weren't getting other guys to date them. Like the only person that they had attracted to them was me. And I would take them out on a couple of dates and then they'd lose interest. And I'm on campus, I'm in college at the time, right? So it's not like I'd see these women around campus with other guys or at dances with other guys or just out and about with other guys. No, they liked me. I found out about it. I took them out a few times. I started calling them a lot. I started trying to invite them to every single thing. And then they'd lose interest and not be dating anybody else. So that then destroys the narrative of she's just trying to get pumped and dumped because she's not dating me. She's not putting up with anybody else. So it must have been that I was not doing the right things to keep her interest. Because the fact that she had no other interest chasing after her and I still couldn't keep her, that's a bad sign. So that made me start doing internal work about what it is that I was doing. And that's only been helpful to my dating journey, is that I'm able to see where my flaws are, where I could be improving. And that's allowed me to be able to go out there and not be in my ego about I'm so great that if a woman just suddenly stops talking to me, it has to be about her and not about me. So you don't get further in your dating journey by blaming women for wanting to stop talking to you and versus looking at like what things are and aren't working. And I've done plenty of shows on here that talk about how texting kills attraction, about how you need to wait until the woman comes to you and says, hey, let's start going out on Friday and Saturday dates before you accept them. If you're still doing those kinds of things and then getting negative results, then you can't blame her. I have plenty of videos. I offer one-on-one coaching. I have plenty of programs that explain this stuff. But even if you don't go to my stuff, there's plenty of other people out there that say things similar in terms of like the dating process and why women psychologically don't like certain things or don't like certain actions being done, or why when you call them too much, they tend to back off, or why you trying to come to them and ask them for a relationship when they're not ready for it doesn't work. Like, you can look all that stuff up and figure it out. But if you're not, then you're in denial. You're saying to yourself, well, I'm just perfect the way I am and women should just accept it. And I'm saying, no, you're not. I'm saying you need to do the freaking work. You need to figure out why it is you keep getting the same results. Because I can see if it's like you go out with like one woman and after like 2 or 3 weeks, she stops talking to you and you find out she's with other guys, you'd have a case, right? 5 women, 10 women, you're the common denominator. And I can tell you now, all these women at one point really, really liked you. And because you did stuff that made them feel uncomfortable or made it feel like you're moving too fast too soon, or gave off other traits about yourself that maybe you're not aware you're even giving off, that you aren't actually at, like you don't actually do those things, but the women get an impression you do those things, then those are the things that are causing them to pull away. Because even in that video, I say, it's not necessarily always a test. Sometimes you're doing the right stuff and then you start doing the wrong stuff, and women subconsciously don't understand why it feels weird all of a sudden. But once they get that feeling of, this feels kind of creepy, you're out. And you need to know what things cause that feeling, so that way you don't have to come on here and complain about, well, she just wants to get pumped and dumped, and she just doesn't understand what a good guy is. No, there are plenty of women out there that eventually get with good guys that just know the dating process and know what the journey needs to be like for the woman in order to build that attraction naturally. And it doesn't involve you being there at her beck and call. It doesn't involve you texting all the time. It doesn't involve you having to do all these things that you're probably doing right now. And it definitely doesn't involve you thinking that you have no flaws and therefore she just must be a pumper and dumper. Like, yes, there are women like that exist, but I find that more often than not, most women aren't like that, and it just means you're messing up. So if you want help with that, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. You can go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/HarryWilmington. Watch all my videos. Check out the content at the website to check out, how to get your mind in the right position to be able to date women and know how to date them in a way that's going to be effective for them, to make them feel safe and feel trusted and all that other good stuff you want them to feel before they solidify you as the boyfriend. You can also sign up for a one-on-one consultation. Go to the website, click on the coaching tab. I'd love to help you figure out why it is you keep getting the same results with women, all right? But yeah, that's all I have to say, guys. That kind of stuff really irks me because, I like to have a positive channel, and my general viewpoint of women overall is a very positive one in terms of what they bring to the table, what they can bring to your life. The way that they think about things is different than ours, but it can be very helpful in terms of trying to find a helpmate and stuff. But you could be blocking your own blessing if you're not getting out of your own way. So if I can help you do that, then I'd love to be able to help you out. That's all I got for today. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I'll catch you guys on the next show. I'm out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Introvert Dating Success Podcast. Visit us at introvertdatingsuccess.com for more great tips on attracting women using your natural introvert charm. Oh,